be good here in just a second. All right, that says we're good. Excuse me. All right, getting my play back up. How's everybody doing? Been a busy couple days in the old NFL. We got one trader on our hands. The dirty, dirty scoundrel. Hey, what's up, Matthew? Oh, speak of the devil. Aren't you a Bears fan? What's it like having a Benedict Arnold as a head coach? It's pretty cool to have a historical figure as your head coach, Benedict Arnold, the biggest trader on since him. Can't even root for Ben Johnson anymore. Him and his terrible big game play calling capabilities. Blah. No, he'll probably be all right. I don't know why he had to go to a division rival, though. Like, of all the teams, Ben, he could have gone anywhere. What's up, Jacob? Yeah, I would imagine that you love that Ben Johnson's the head coach. You better hope that Ben has something to do with building the team. See, one of the things that's often underrated or overlooked with coordinators is they often don't have a lot to do with like the picking of the players and the building of the team. Hey, congrats, Jacob. Good job on the national championship. I'm sure you're loving it. But I always wonder with these coordinators is how good are they going to be at like team building compared to the head coach that they were serving under? That's often where a lot of these guys end up failing. Again, their job is not usually to put the team together. Now Ben Johnson's job is to put the team together. It's sort of a different thing than running an offense. But we'll see how he does. I'm sure he'll be fine. He's a smart guy. He's been learning under Dan Campbell, who's very, very good at it. Plus, they got a pretty competent GM in Ryan Poles for the most part. At least kind of. Their offensive line isn't great, but... Now, one thing that people are also kind of starting to like shit on the Lions, they're like, man, the Lions are going to be bad without all their coaches. It's like, well, maybe. But is it also possible that Dan Campbell did hire all these people to be his coordinators? So who's to say he won't like hire another good batch of potential coordinators again? Or they just don't promote guys who are already there and already like pretty effective coach. Like, I think they'll be all right. I don't know. I think there's a lot of doom and gloom, but it's also like, I don't know. I think there's a lot more to head coaching than calling plays. If it was just about calling plays, I think there'd be a lot more successful head coaches in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this weird thing that's hard to describe. Like, I don't. Did John Harbaugh ever coordinate offense or defense before he became a head coach? I don't think so. I think he literally he went from special teams to head coach. And again, that's fine. Because again, you don't need to be able to call offense or defense to become a head coach. Because again, there's a lot more to the head coach position than, well, is he a good coordinator? It's like, well, that's not his job. Shouldn't be his job. If your head coach is also demanding offense and defense, you got to like a Nazi control coach. Yeah, I think there's that. There's this guy Tanner Inkstrand that's also like very in the running. I don't think you guys are getting anybody from the Lions staff, it looks like. Because he's already sort of seemingly picked his staff out, and I think the guys, the Lions offensive line coach, I believe doesn't want to leave. Like he has very low interest in leaving. And I don't believe Tanner Inglestrand wants to either. But he's the OC, the line coaches, I believe, like one of the top choices to become the next Lions OC. So I don't think you guys are going to get him. Yeah, he's good. Your special teams coach is the Saints interim head coach. Was the Saints interim head coach, most likely. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting moves. Yeah, but like again, that's not really the job of the head coach. Like, sure, the head coach should help bring out some of the best of his players, but that's really on Ben on like the offensive staff he hires to develop Caleb alongside him, right? Like Dan Campbell had a significant impact on Jared Goff by like just being his guy. But like most of Jared Goff's major developments have come from the work he did with Ben Johnson over the last couple years. Do you see how that works? Like most likely the OC you hire will be the big deal. Um, at least that's how I've always viewed it. For example, the Patriots hired Josh McDaniels again. Don't even need to work up a Photoshop. You just picture one of, several different times he's joined the team again. And you may think, oh, that's a bad move, but it's like, I don't know. Josh McDaniels was like the coordinator when the Patriots had him in 07 when they went undefeated. He was the coordinator for a Super Bowl, for part of the Super Bowl run in like the teens. Then he went and got a head coach job, was very good, came back. And of course, Mac Jones was a Pro Bowl rookie who was starting a playoff game and was rated as the 85th best player in the NFL by his peers. So there's both of those things going on there. So damn, there's nobody here. I guess people just really don't want to talk about football with me anymore. Aaron Glenn, I don't know, the Saints or the Jets. Well, that sucks. I was hoping people would want to come by and talk about football. Who I got winning a Super Bowl? Let's see. I got Bills versus Eagles. So I'd have to sit there and think about that for a little bit, right? Like, Bills and Eagles. Who do I think wins that kind of game? Bills are kind of shitty versus the run. I think the Bills can shut down the Eagles' run offense. I don't know. Kind of just depends on who gets there. If it's the Bills versus the Eagles, I'm liking the Eagles. But if it's like the Bills versus the Commanders, I like the Bills. If it's the Chiefs versus the Eagles, I like the Chiefs. And if it's the Chiefs versus Commanders, I like the Chiefs. Kind of that's how I break it down in my head. I feel like I like the AFC in most of the scenarios. However, if the Commanders actually do make it to the Super Bowl, there's like a good shot that they snake it out. Yeah, it would be nice to see just new teams in the Super Bowl. I don't necessarily care if the Chiefs make it, but then I'd want the Commanders in. You know what I mean? That way we're not dealing with a boring situation. You happy to be in the AFC conference? You mean the AFC championship game? Yeah. Congrats, man. That's always a good thing. Has there ever been a rookie QB who won a Super Bowl? I don't think so. I don't think a rookie's ever actually even made it to the Super Bowl. I'm trying to think. This might be the furthest the rookie's made it. Well, maybe Mark Sanchez made it absurdly far for a rookie. Yeah, I'm trying to think. No one in recent memory. That's not even a hot take. That's just depending on what happens in the offseason, it's like a sure thing to happen. As long as we don't shit our pants in getting a wide receiver, we should be pretty straightforward and ready to go. However, if we dick around and end up with nobody at the receiver position yet again, then we're in pretty bad straits. Then we're probably going to lose a lot of games again. But hey, maybe eventually we'll sign a receiver. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah. Well, yeah. Who else would win Rookie of the Year? Brock Bowers. They don't give it to position players over quarterbacks usually. The non-long-standing people are all losing mods. Pretty much everyone left is a long-standing person, so. Cool. Well, this stinks. I thought a few more people would come by. I guess it's just us tonight. Patriots get a receiver like T or Chris Godwin. We can get both. The benefit of being the Patriots is you have $136 million in free agency to play with and literally nobody to sign. We don't have to sign anybody right now like that we need for next year. Everybody's inked up. Next year we could start the signing of like Christian Gonzalez and things like that. So we're really good. So we could just sign T. Higgins, get Chris Godwin, or with all the money we have, we can call up teams like Philadelphia who love to do trades in draft time, see if they want to get a couple picks for A.J. Brown. Maybe we can call up the Dolphins, who have a disgruntled wide receiver who has expressed interest in playing for the Patriots. Be like, hey, what does it take to get Tyreek Hill to the New England Patriots? Then suddenly you have a wide receiving core of like T. Higgins, maybe A.J. Brown or Chris Godwin, or maybe A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, maybe DK Metcalf. Again, another kind of disgruntled receiver that wouldn't mind playing for a Patriots team. That's one of the teams he liked growing up. So again, you have these three guys you could trade for alongside a player like T. Higgins. Then you have Pop Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, and then you move along. What's up, DeRocher? What's up, Jeremy? How's it going? Yeah, it's kind of sounding like Glenn might go to the Jets. That wouldn't be a bad pickup. He seems like a pretty good coach. Now, the problem is your team won't be able to deal with running quarterbacks, but outside of that, pretty goddamn good coach. Just good luck against the running quarterback. 4 straight years of just not figuring that shit out a little bit. Like our rival was Seattle simply because we couldn't figure out how to stop Geno Smith. He'd like probably watch games of like other teams showing him how to stop a running quarterback, and he was just like, I just don't know what we're doing here. Maybe. Kind of depends on Ben Johnson's ability to build a team, similar to Aaron Glenn. Because one of the things that Ben Johnson and the Lions with the front office do particularly well is build a team. That's probably the most criminally underrated part of what Dan Campbell is capable of doing. He knows exactly what players to pick, what players to add and not to add to his football team. And I think that his coordinators really don't have much of an input on those things on his team. I think the only thing he iron grips, like control wise, is what the roster looks like. And the only person who has input is Brad Holmes. Those two guys, from everything I've looked into, have 100% control of the roster. Nobody else even like gets to like suggest things to them. It's their roster. And now that makes me wonder, it's like, okay, that's a little bit of a flag, but I think within the roster, those two got a lot of control of like who's on the field, who plays, who doesn't. I don't think Dan iron gripped that, but like the team building aspect, I think Campbell was really hard on. But again, I think if you were smart coordinators, you see the kind of players Dan was drafting, that he was kind of bringing in, and those are the players that you want to kind of replicate getting yourself, right? Because again, the Lions have been bringing in great players over the years. So that's the real question for those two guys. Because they're clearly great coaches. It's just, can they build a team? And that's always the biggest, hardest question about coach to coordinator to head coach. Because again, they're all phenomenal coaches coaching at this point in the NFL, right? But where a lot of guys fail is leading all three sides of the ball together in unison, developing a game plan from that, and then also building the team itself with a certain identity, right? That's literally the hardest part. And some guys just never figure that out. See people like Vic Fangio, see people like Steve Spagnuolo, see people like Matt Patricia. I mean, technically, Robert Salah just failed at it, right? I mean, that's maybe not his fault because of ownership, but Jeremy, hopefully, Aaron Glenn gets them to stop rating players off of Madden. If that happens, the Jets may be in very good condition going forward. You know what's crazy, Jeremy? I used to make jokes that any one of us could run the Jets better than the way they're being ran. And when I found out that like a 17-year-old kid had an enormous pull on that fucking team, I went, I was literally right. Any one of us could have ran the Jets better than the way that they've been ran for about 4 years now. The fuck? Why is Woody Johnson's 13 to 17-year-old grandson exerting any control over this football team? And he's just kind of running the team like it's mad, and he's like, fucking... Dude, you gotta admit, that shit is just angering. It's like, oh, we didn't get Jerry Jeudy, and he had a breakout year with no quarterback. And now you guys are gonna lose Garrett Wilson. I'm out. Sauce Gardner's gone. DJ Reed wants to leave. How many people want to leave your team, Jeremy? The only thing that might save you guys is Aaron Glenn showing up. That might save you, but I kind of doubt it with some of these guys. You think you'll be able to save the relationship for your team? If the Jets can get Glenn. Well, I mean, if the Jets can win around 7 to 10 games, they'd be quite excited. That would probably mean a very young quarterback is doing extremely well for them. Hey, eventually it'll be fair. You guys will eventually get the right coach. I really thought it was going to be Salah, but, you know, whatever. And if nobody hires Salah as the head coach, I think I know who the Lions should hire as the next DC, but I hope he comes to the Patriots. Salah. But most likely we're hiring whoever. Our team's almost done. Maybe, Matthew. It's possible. The only problem is the Packers are an incredibly talented team of very young players. The only problem is their talent doesn't seem to be making that step forward, right? They're a little bit better than they were last year, but like they didn't step forward. Like there was no leap forward with the talent that they had. Otherwise, they probably are a little bit better than they were. I don't know if I think the Jair Alexander injury really fucked them down the stretch, but I don't know if it was like, was it that bad? Like they have nothing else. Like, makes you more mad than coach. Wait, what do you mean? I'm sorry. Wait, I'm confused by that statement, Jeremy. I apologize. But yeah, I could see it. I don't think Jordan Love is a good quarterback. They messed up with that. And I rang the alarm bells for them Packers fans all off season, the entire time. I was like, hey, ring, 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 ring. Don't fucking hire. Don't pay him this money long term. Give him a red shirt or franchise tag his ass. Do not pay him. Do not pay him. And if they wouldn't have paid him after this year, there's no way he should have got that kind of money. He just robbed that franchise. He's never going to look like he did for 8 games against some bad defenses. He beat the Lions. Yeah, you mean like the 28th ranked defense like 2 years ago? Whoa. Look out. Yeah, he beat a bunch of bad teams, a bunch of bad defenses rather. Beat the Cowboys, who his team always beats, and has not played a really good game since. Yeah, and I don't even know how long Watson's going to be out. Like, we haven't found one of those young franchise guys that you see every... Oh, yep. Yeah, I get what you mean. You haven't found, like, the young superstar coach or quarterback? Or both? Yeah, you've had the young superstar quarterback coach. But yeah, the Patriots, all of us, like... Are you talking about, like, the Patriots getting Drake May? Like, 5 years after Tom Brady, we get Drake May? Like Drake May, your Jaden Daniels, your Bo Nixes. I don't really count Daniels in. If your quarterback comes into the league at 24 years old, 25, they have to just hit the ground running. I don't really want to see like a rev up point for almost like someone who's 4 years younger than me as a rookie. The only ones I really count are like Drake May as a young quarterback. You know, he's 21, turning 22. Stroud was incredibly young coming into the league. Love's like on year 6 this year, by the way. He's not a young quarterback. What is this, year 5 or 6 coming up for this dude? I think he's like 28 years old or some crazy shit like that. He's a lot older than you think he is. Like Burrow. Burrow at the time would have been a young franchise star. He came into the NFL at a pretty young age. Again, I feel weird calling them like young guys when it's like Jared Goff's like 29 years old. Some of these guys are 5 years younger than Jared Goff. You know what I mean? That doesn't, that seems weird. Like, I think Bo May is 8 years younger than Jared Goff. Like, he was a little boy watching Goff play football. Ronnie Bell, maybe. Bo Nix, yeah, he was great. Him and Jaden Daniels should be the 2 top vote getters for Rookie of the Year. Well, I mean, Brock Bowers will be second because he broke Ditka's records this year. Yeah, Darnold's incredibly young. You guys should try to get Darnold back and just be like, fuck it, Sam. Come home, buddy. We'll treat you good this time, Sam. Come on back. We got receivers now, dude. Look at Garrett Wilson. You just want to spam throw it to Garrett Wilson? Tell me you aren't interested, Jeremy. He's a leader now. He's a fucking man. Have him fucking bring that OC from have him bring that quarterback coach slash that what the hell's that guy from Minnesota's name? Like Kevin Udinsky or whatever? What up, Ven? Let me give you back your mod. I took it away till I seen you again. I was getting angry with her. I was like, really? Everybody's just not gonna show up to my streams? All right. Well, I mean, Zach Wilson sucks. I always thought Darnold would be a good quarterback. It's just he's not going to be good in clutch moments, so I don't know if that's a good idea. Yeah, I appreciate you, Ven. As always, I give back moderators. Gino, Zach Smith, all of them. You should bring them back and see which Jets guy will be the best leader. Ronnie Ball always drops the ball. Well, I mean, the Lions probably just brought him in as an extra body. Yeah, the Vikings are cursed. Yeah, they're just not very good in the playoffs, just like all Minnesota sports teams. They're like at a 130-year drought without a men's sports team winning a national like a championship in anything. Isn't that crazy? Their only major sports title is from the WNBA in like 100 years of fucking existing. And like they're always like the best teams too, which is like Minnesota's a top 10 win percentage team. It was very funny that all year, Yvonne, you have to admit, it's very funny that all year long, I was like, no, Darnold will turn back into a bullshit quarterback all year. And all year I called for it. And I probably sounded like a complete crazy jackass at every single game. I was like, this is the game it happens. And then it happened against the Lions. And I went, and he was gone. And I was like, oh, damn, I told you guys it would happen. Like, I don't know if I can call that, though, because I was just sitting there calling it every week. Like, nah, this is the week that Darnold turns back into an idiot. And it happened, but it just, it was like the last game was the worst time it could have happened. Darnold will look good for a few games. He had a great year. I can't even take anything out from him. He had a phenomenal year. Literally a historic season for the Minnesota Vikings. Timberwolves is the only team that could win a championship. Yeah, most likely. The Twins could too if they got their head out of their ass and spent a little bit of money. I once knew once a big game came around, he looked like his old. Oh yeah, me too, Jeremy. I know Sam Darnold too well. Love the guy. I really wish he would have been a good quarterback. Yeah, KOC got the extension. Do you really question? Do we think it's okay that he gets Coach of the Year over Dan Campbell this year? Even though Dan swept his team, won the division off of him, and like the reason they gave it to Stefanski over Dan Campbell last year, right, was because of the injuries. Right? Okay, walk with me on this for a minute though, right? They said the adversity that the Browns faced at the quarterback position was enough that Kevin Stefanski should have won it over Dan Campbell. Even though Dan Campbell did all of the shit that the Lions accomplished last regular season. It's okay. It's like, okay, I suppose. Dan Campbell should have won it last year too, by the way. However, they gave it to Stefanski because of the adversity he faced. Go to this year. And that was 5 quarterback injuries. That was 5 injuries to starters. Now, and the Browns did not live up to the expectations. They made the playoffs, but they didn't live up to any of the expectations. Now, go to the Lions this year. Stefanski is getting it because he defied expectations. However, which is why the Lions should have got it last year. The Lions had like 21 guys on IR, like defensive fucking starters on IR. Like they lost a defensive player like who was on pace to set like fucking multiple defensive records this year in Aiden Hutchinson. Like he was on pace to shatter the fucking pressures record, on pace to shatter the single season he was on pace to get like 30 sacks at one point this year. Through like 5 games, they're like, well, he's on pace for like 31 sacks. And it didn't seem like he was slowing down at any point. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, and then he lost like all his linebackers. They lost the entire defensive line, and then they lost all of the backup defensive linemen, and then they lost some of the third stringers and went into the practice squad. Then they lost a practice squad defensive lineman. Then they lost everybody but Jack Campbell in the linebacking core. Every single defensive back got hurt at one point this year, at different points. And yet the Lions still lived up to every single expectation that they had to hit. They went past them. They won 15 fucking games. Were the 1 seed. And that's not Coach of the Year? Because Kevin O'Connell made Sam Darnold play good with 2 number 1 wide receivers and fucking TJ Hawkinson in a very good run game. I'm sorry, but what's actually sounds like Coach of the Year? Like living up to very lofty expectations, even surpassing what people thought you would do in the first place, despite having all of your starters on defense hurt. Yeah, but the Lions, like, Ben, did you see what happened to the Steelers for 2 games when they lost TJ, just one defensive starter and TJ Watt? Do you remember when didn't Mike McCarthy win Coach of the Year in 2011 when you guys had 15 guys on IR? And you guys made the playoffs, and that was the reason Mike McCarthy was given the fucking Coach of the Year. That might not in 2011, right? You won McCarthy won Coach of the Year, right? Because you guys had all those dudes injured, but you still made the playoffs and won the Super Bowl eventually. Lions win the Super Bowl if they stay healthy on defense this year. Like they might have I don't know. I think genuinely if they had people like Aiden Hutchinson, Derek Barnes in that game, I think it goes tremendously different. Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, I think he was actually out there. Pascal, like all these people were gone, dude. These are like that's their whole defensive line, and yet they were still here. I really think it's like really hard to be like, well, Dan didn't win it last year despite defying expectations because of the injuries. But the Lions, all these injuries the Lions had this year isn't a good enough reason for the Vikings defying expectations. I honestly think that the Vikings' expectations were incorrectly set heading into the season. I think that's the problem with this. I think we should honestly have to reevaluate that Minnesota actually didn't have a bad roster, just a bad quarterback. And I think we all knew that. Like, I think everybody was like, well, Minnesota's got no quarterback, so they're going to have a bad year. And I think that's a retarded way. We have to stop evaluating things like that going forward. Because now, a guy who probably should win Coach of the Year in Dan Campbell, because he got robbed last year for a guy who won it because of injuries. Andrew Bynum. I just don't watch enough Vikings games. That's like the issue. Number 24, number 7. There's like 3 guys on the defensive line that are really good, like Andrew Van Ginkel. What do you mean? And again, there's like a number like Portish Jones or something like that on the defensive. Oh, god damn it. They had a very good draft the last 2 years for defensive players. Their defense is very, very good. And again, Stefanski won it over Campbell, so we've already seen injuries win the award over defied expectations. So I believe in the same vein, Campbell's injuries that he overcame this year are far more impressive than Kevin O'Connell's defied expectations. You got to admit, dude, how many teams do what the Lions did with that many defensive injuries on IR at one time? Like defensive starters. Was it like 8 of them? Like I think the only guys who didn't get hurt this year were Jack Campbell, and that's it. Yeah, and Mike Vrabel won the award for the same fucking thing. You remember that? I rest my case. Yeah, and guess what? Guess who was Coach of the Year that year? Thank you. Thank you, Van. Who won Coach of the Year that year? And what reason did he win Coach of the Year? Making the playoffs despite all those injuries, right? Van's like, fuck. I'm sorry to argue with you, Van, but I'm very annoyed about this topic. I hate the fact that it's going to be Kevin O'Connell. No, it's going to be Kevin O'Connell. They've like it should be Dan Campbell. Like if they do this right, it'll be Dan Campbell, and then Andy Reid can eventually win Coach of the Year, because that means they're changing the way. Because we seen it. Was it last year, or was it this year? Is the first year that they're officially not voting? I think so too, Jeremy. On Comeback Player of the Year is no longer considering bad players, right? You have to just be injured, or like you just didn't play at all in 2020, like the year prior. Like you can't be like, well, you just were kind of shitty the year. Like you just, like the Joe Flacco thing. Like he's not, like people like Joe Flacco are never eligible to win that award again. Which is weird that the betting sites still think, was Joe Burrow hurt in 2020, the last season before this one? Did he get hurt? Yeah, the Vikings are low-key stacked, and that's why I don't think this asshole should win Coach of the Year. What the Lions did is very impressive. I've seen teams fall apart with one player getting hurt. Literally one. Boom, the whole thing ends. If Justin Jefferson had gotten hurt that season, they win like 8 games that year, and everything like goes to shit. Like it's so fucking dumb. Sorry, Ven. Not you, because again, it's just the way they vote that award is so goddamn stupid. I wish adversity wasn't part of Coach of the Year. That shouldn't be a part of it. Do you know why that part of the award is there? It's like an anti-Bill Belichick rule, because justifiably, when Belichick was during his run there, I don't know who else could have won Coach of the Year but him, Tony Dungy, or whoever was coaching the Colts at sometimes, and then occasionally Mike McCarthy. It would be like 3 guys passing the award around. And right now, it'd be Andy Reid. You know what I mean? It'd be like, well, Andy Reid, Sirianni. Well, I don't know who else could win it for the regular season. See, Sirianni, it should be between fucking Campbell, Sirianni, O'Connell, and fucking Reid. Like, those should be the top 4, but it's not going to be. Like, I hate that shit, dude. It should be between Campbell and Reid, honestly. Those were the 2 best fucking coaches this year. They had the best teams. Josh Allen. And I hate saying that, but I honestly do think it's Allen's turn. No, I don't. No, it's Lamar Jackson. What am I doing? He had a better year than he did last year, and he's the MVP. Yeah. It's Lamar. I blanked for a second. I went into my weird alter ego, Dirty Rob, and he doesn't like Lamar for some reason. Dan Quinn, if the playoffs were more considered, he would get it. But like, yeah, why isn't Dan Quinn more considered over Kevin O'Connell? That's the $1 million question. If we're considering adversity, isn't Dan Quinn far more impressive than Kevin O'Connell? Like, I'd be fine if Dan Quinn won it over Kevin O'Connell. I'd be like, yeah, actually, that's fucking very impressive what he did this year. Fucking won it with a team. Everybody was like, that'll be a top picking team this year. They'll be contending for the number 1 pick. Now they're actually playing for a Super Bowl. Yeah, Dan Quinn should be in like the number 1. It should be like Dan Quinn, Dan Campbell, and like Andy Reid. I guess you could throw. Again, I think Kevin O'Connell should be in the running for the award. However, based on the stupid qualifications of how they voted for this award last year, I don't know how Dan Campbell doesn't win it. He'd still be the coach of the Falcons. They'd have never fired him. And trust me, they'd have won 2, or they'd probably would have won 2 Super Bowls with that team, because it wouldn't have imploded. And he probably would still be coaching the Falcons. To be honest, like, he'd still be there. He'd have never left. Yeah, that's the saddest story ever. But hey, good for him. He's clearly learned his lesson, because boy, did he was not stopping versus the Lions. He was like, ain't gonna fucking happen to me again. Ain't gonna fucking happen to me again. And I'm so glad that he learned his lesson. Because boy, he literally, when they kept flashing to him, he had a look on his face of, this is a team that can do that to me. It's not gonna happen to me again. And that's the funniest part about Dan Quinn to me. I will say, though, I hope everybody has enjoyed the Patriots off time, because we're a playoff team now. Unfortunately, you guys see that we got Josh McDaniels back. And you know what happens when the Patriots get Josh McDaniels? We fucking cook. We're going to be running the Ernst Perkins system all over your bitch-ass defenses that have no idea how to stop this offense when done right. Oh, boy, you guys are all used to West Coast offenses and shit. We're going to be running a 1980s offense that nobody runs anymore except us. You fucking losers ready? We're back to the basics, baby. You guys are so fucking fucked. We got more talent than Brady ever could have in his finger. You know, we got like actual talent running this system now. Drake May with Josh McDaniels. You know what kind of dangerous weapon that is? May I remind you what he did with Mac Jones? He was so good with Mac. Mac was rated as the 85th best player in the NFL by his peers and coaches. He was also voted to the Pro Bowl and put the Patriots in the playoffs. That's how good fucking Josh McDaniels was with Mac Jones. What's Mac up to nowadays? Without him. Hell yeah. I hope this time he doesn't go get a fucking job. Like, I really hope nobody hires Josh McDaniels this time around. Like, do you think anyone does that like a third time? Like, all right, this time Josh is going to be good. It's like, don't quit it. Why do we quit taking Josh McDaniels from us? He can't head coach. Let him sit here with us. Jesus fucking Christ. Clearly, he can't do the shit. Just let him be here. I don't need one of these bum-ass loser teams like the goddamn Seahawks coming for my guy next year. Fucking Miami. I would take John McDaniels. Fuck you guys. You know what? Josh would say no, because you don't go to a fucking division rival to coach. Yeah, nobody wants to coach Tua either. Tyreek Hill don't even want to be his fucking wide receiver anymore. He's like, I'm fucking done here. This sucks. I'm so that's the funniest thing of the offseason that nobody's talking about. Is how Tyreek Hill was literally like, I want to leave. And the ESPN just stopped talking about it. They're like, oh, this is not good. Like, what are they not talking about that for? That feels like huge news. What the fuck? Hello? Is he going back to Kansas City? We can't allow this to happen. Miami, do not trade him to the Dolphins. Give him to us. We won't trade the Kansas City Chiefs. They can suck our dicks. Then we flip him over to Kansas City for like a 6th round pick. Be like, hell yeah, we scammed everybody. But we also get like Joe Tooney out of it. We're like, we got him back. Look at us go. Yeah, I can't wait. This is gonna be a fun offseason. I have a wish list of players this year. Number 1, T. Higgins. Number 2, A.J. Brown. Some of these players you don't know that are up for sale, but they're up for sale. I know they are. I've looked into it. DK Metcalf. Tyreek Hill. These aren't all, like, I want all of these. I just want 2 of these people at some caliber. T. Higgins is the number 1. I need T. Higgins on this football team. Who the fuck else? And then I guess Chris Godwin is like, those are the 5 players I'd like from the receiver department. Now, other positions. Offensive line. There's a few guys out there that are worth signing. Ronnie Stanley, number 1. He's a very good tackle still. Can put him at right tackle. Can put him at left tackle. He's 30 years old. We don't have to pay he's not worth as much as he used to be. However, we can give him what he just got basically, because we can overpay him compared to everybody else. Trey Smith from the Kansas City Chiefs is due to be a free agent, and he was a 6th round pick. So guess what? That means for Kansas City, who doesn't have the money to pay him, they're not going to be able to afford probably one of the best guards in the NFL. Now, a 6th round pick, guess what he's going to want? Who's already got, 2, maybe 3 Super Bowl rings? He don't give a fuck. He's got his rings. Guess what he wants? Money, money. You know what I mean? So guess what? He's going to go with the biggest bag. Kansas City fans have already accepted that he's fucking gone. And guess where he's probably going to go? The 10-year trade of Joe Tooney for Trey Smith has been completed. I no longer hate Kansas City for them stealing our guard, so long as we get Trey Smith from them. Everything works out in a wash. They have the rising team, they get the guard. We have the rising team, we get the guard. Again, everything kind of works out in a wash. So again, let's do a thing. It's Ronnie Stanley, Trey Smith, this guy with the last name Akari. And that's about it. Everyone else is kind of shitty. Yeah, we're good otherwise. We've still got Onwenu, Andrews, and Strange to work with. Really only need 2 guys. And I'm good. Everything else is I don't give a fuck about. Defensively, we just need a new coach who isn't a pussy, and we're good to go. We have the same defense. I don't know what happened. That was weird. They just got really shitty under a new head coach. With Vrabel, that won't happen. So I don't even. We'll be back to top 10 just with the guys we got. Maybe draft Will Johnson at number 4. Sign or draft Abdul Carter. I don't know. I don't really care. We don't have to draft an offensive player from this terrible offensive draft. It's a terrible draft for offensive players, by the way. If your team needs offense from this draft, you're fucked. There ain't nobody good in this whole thing. It's like, ugh. There's actually good running backs, believe it or not. It's a very good running back draft. From what I was looking at, it's a very good class of pass catching running backs who can all do they can all run hard and pass catch. So very good running back class if your team needs a new running back. Or wants to go to a dual back system. I could see the Patriots now. If we do all those moves and we draft Ashton Jainty at 4, I'm gonna be so fucking ecstatic, dude. We're gonna run through motherfucking people's faces. However, I hope we would trade back if we're gonna draft a running back. I like Stevenson, but he fumbles a lot, and I don't really know if I want to keep fucking with that. However, I do think Stevenson was trying to do too much last season. So it is what it is. Jeremy, I have to introduce you to what teams do to the Patriots all the time. You were used as a chip against my team. You made your team was used to make Robert Kraft hurry up and make the decision to hire Vrabel. I don't know if he was ever going to sign with you guys or if he was using you guys as a chip over our head to be like, hey, I'm going to sign with the Jets. And the Patriots went, like, fuck you are. And we signed you anyway. And we got it. We're like, all right, cool. All right, we got the guy. Pretty sure he scammed us, but it is what it is. Because again, as soon as he got the opportunity, as soon as they fired Brian, not Flo, Gerard Mayo. God damn, dude, I can't even remember his name already. As soon as they fired Mayo, it was pretty obvious that they were going to hire fucking Mike Vrabel. They got the 2 Rooney Rule guys out of the way real quick. They're like, all right, we're done with those 2 motherfuckers. Now we're hiring Mike. I'm like, damn, dude, that looked real bad. We might have had the most obvious Rooney Rule interviews of all time. We interviewed 2 black guys, and then we interviewed fucking Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson, and that was that. Like, we only interviewed Ben Johnson just to pretend it wasn't just a thing. We're like, no, we're interviewing a ton. We interviewed 4 whole coaches for this head coaching job. We interviewed them 2 black guys, Ben Johnson. It wasn't just about Rooney Rule. See, we interviewed 3 guys. And Mike Vrabel. But I don't know. I think it's retarded. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I like the Rooney Rule. Like, I get what the point of it is. But it feels weird in implementation. Like it doesn't do the intended thing that it's supposed to be doing, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it's getting black coaches hired more or if black coaches are getting hired more because they're just being noticed more. Like, as coordinators get a bigger light shown upon them and the effort that they put forward for the team, and that people start to understand like what coordinators actually do and like what role they provide for the team. I think that's what's getting them more of a shot at like head coaching opportunity, more so than just like these arbitrary, stupid fucking interviews that clearly no one is hiring them for. I like, you know what I mean? I don't know if like that, which one they should the Rooney Rule just go away? Because again, it's a very good intentioned rule. Like, the intent behind that rule is very, very good. It was made at a time when people when non-white coaches were just not getting a chance. Similar to like the quarterback weird thing where it was like people didn't want non-white quarterbacks. It's like fucking why? Like there are like numerous like very talented wide receivers in the NFL that like never would have played receiver in the NFL. It's just like Hines Ward would have been just a quarterback in the NFL. I'm pretty sure Antoine Randall would have never played wide receiver in the NFL. Like a number of these guys like just never would have been like wide receivers because they're like, well, I'm a quarterback. There's a pretty famous Redskins quarterback that I think also had to switch from wide receiver to quarterback in the NFL, or from quarterback to wide. Jason Camp. No, I think he went the other way. He switched from receiver to quarterback because of an injury or something like that. I don't remember. But I don't know. I don't know if I like the Rooney Rule anymore. Like, it feels kind of like a stupid thing. Not for the intent, but just because of like the results that it produces. Again, it's not bad to like make sure that everybody, that it's just not like one group of people. Because again, for a while that was a little bit of an issue in the NFL. Certain people were completely overlooked by the people who own the teams. Whatever. But again, they've gotten past that clearly, right? I think every team almost now has had a black head coach. Or at least a non-white head coach. Except maybe the Packers. But again, some teams have only had like fucking 2-3 head coaches in the last 50 years. So necessarily they haven't really had that many opportunities. What if the Packers had like 4 head coaches all time? 5, maybe? And they tend to just never fire a coach, so. Or at least it's incredibly rare. Kind of like the Steelers. They've had, what, 3 guys outside of Tomlin? Like Tomlin, it's like fucking Cowher. The guy before him. Was it like Noel Cowher Tomlin? Like that's like the owners of the Steelers over the last 100 years. Or like the coaches of the Steelers. It's like, yeah, that's about it. Incredible run, by the way. The Rooneys are incredible owners, but their rule is a little silly. Yeah, Niners don't have a ton. They went through a few coaches in the 2000s because before Shanahan and after oh god damn it, who took over after Bill Walsh? Oh shit, dude, I never remember his name. But there's like a few coaches between the guy after Walsh and the guy in between Shanahan. But yeah, you're right. The Niners are also very like one coach team. It was like the guy before Bill Walsh, the guy after Bill Walsh, then a whole bunch of guys, and then Shanahan since. Yeah, I think Chip Kelly was there. Like they had a bunch of coaches pop in. Dude, I'm telling you, it was a circus, and they had like who's that really funny guy? Mike Singletary or something like that. Like that really like hard-nosed linebacker who's like a Hall of Fame player, but like a terrible, he's like he like has glasses, he's bald-headed. He's like an absolute fucking whack job. Like he seems like a nerd, but he's like a really like fucking fired up guy. Very interesting time. They had Jim Harbaugh for a minute there. Yeah, dude, they went through a cornucopia of coaches in the mid 2000s. Yeah, before Shanahan showed up, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing. Gents always go the defensive route. Rex Bulls, Salah, one time they did offense and Gase. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they'll never do that again. Adam Gase was the worst shit ever for them. Hopefully, Aaron Glenn works out for you guys if you hire him. Have a feeling he's going to New Orleans, though. Feels like he wants to go back to you guys. Because, again, he did play there. So, there's always going back to where you once were. Brian Schottenheimer. Yeah, I also think it's funny that people are trying to say the Lions are like finished. It's like, well, not necessarily. Like most of their good players are under contract till like 2028, like 2029 for some of them. Most of them signed extensions that don't kick in until 26. So like from 26, most of them signed 4 years. So like they have a weird window till like the 2030, believe it or not. Because again, they have the same team, except for like 3 or 4 guys, and they have $70 million. They can afford to re-sign all of them. They can also afford to like go get somebody if they want, and then still sign extensions to 2 players. Isn't that fucked up? Doesn't that seem like they're cheating somehow? Like how? How did they do that? How do they have all these fucking people signed to massive extensions? Like literally, I'm telling you, like the only players that they don't have returning of key players are Carlton Davis. I think that's like the only big player. I think everyone else is coming back. Isn't that fucking crazy? Like, and you know who's up for extensions this year is JMO, and I think they also want to pay Kirby Joseph. I think he's up. It's like 2 guys are up for extensions, and they're both expected to get paid. Might be Brian Branch. Isn't that nutty? Like those 2 are both expected to get extensions. And then they're also expected to pursue major defensive line talent. Whether that be Max Crosby or Myles Garrett, who knows? Most likely I think they're really hard going to go after Crosby. Which would be a pretty wild fucking move, in my opinion. Because again, even Max Crosby said he has a lot of things to think about this offseason as far as like his future goes. Which means he's probably going to be asking for a trade very, very soon. Which means he'll most likely try to get that trade pushed to Detroit. I do believe he has a no trade clause. Yeah, he's probably I think he's openly stated that he'd only play for the Raiders or Detroit, which means he's probably going to Detroit. I think it's one of them things where it's just like, yeah, man, Destiny's calling you. You want to come try to win a Super Bowl with one of the craziest defensive lines ever assembled? It's like I can't think of a crazier line of fucking Crosby and Hutchinson. What do you do? If they just don't get hurt, I don't know what the fuck you do against that defense. You could have me out there at DB and I'll keep a guy covered for half a second or so. You know what's funny is like you could see the Lions had like the best one of the top 2 secondaries in football every time Hutch was on the field. But the second that dude got hurt, it was like, pew. It's like, damn, dude. Hutchinson had us playing some of the greatest football we've ever seen in Detroit. Damn. Yeah, the injuries tanked that shit. Yeah, also, this is probably going to be the last one of 2 games we'll see Travis Kelce. I don't see him coming back for another year. Remember what I said about him? He was going to like only show it off in the last few games of the season, which is pretty much exactly what happened with Kelce. He did pretty much shit all for the first good 16 games this year. Then the last 2, he kind of popped into existence. And then in the playoff game here, he popped off. He's got 2 more hard-ass games to play, and then he retires. Yep. Yeah, I said that was how he was going to play. He was going to do jack shit all year, kind of pop in the last 2 games of the year, have pretty good days, and then go crazy in the last 3 playoff games of his life. This is it for him. This shit's been the easiest end of career to predict out. He's 35, dude, and he plays tight end. He's fucking done. I'd be amazed if he tries to play again next year because he's so slow. That's how he's getting open. He's just kind of staying open and getting open through being slow as shit and no one being aware of where he's at. Kind of like this magical like form of openness. Ben, you still here? Surprised you're not you probably dipped. Yeah, we have 7 likes. That's pretty good. I appreciate y'all. If you haven't dropped one yet, consider doing so. Maybe we can hit 10 whole likes. That'd be pretty cool. We're still waiting to see what the Jaguars do, what the Cowboys do, what the Raiders do. There's not been a lot of head coaches hired. Patriots and the Bears move pretty quick, eh? I think almost every job is still open except the Patriots and the Bears. Oh, not recently. I've been a while. CJ Stroud. Yeah, I don't even know what's up with Diggs. He'll probably just be a Texan next year. Mark Andrews. I can't believe him, man. He really just let everybody down and dropped that football. The funniest shit I ever seen, dude. Everybody was just bummed out on Mark Andrews. It was just like, damn, why does the NFL go into Spanish? It's so fucking stupid. And it doesn't give you the option to change this shit. Like, and then it goes like that, and it's just gay. What the fuck? You know, it's going to be very funny to see the Chiefs and the Bills play. Mainly because you are left with the question of, will the Bills finally get their head out of their ass when they play the Chiefs in the playoffs? And as Vince so smartly pointed out a couple years ago, not get Kansas City syndrome and play the weirdest game you've ever seen a team play in the playoffs. Do we think they're going to pull it off this time? Do you think they'll finally do it? Because if you consider this to be the modern Brady Manning, like a Gen Z's Brady versus Manning kind of situation, and it kind of is. It's like not as good, but it's like it's right there. Eventually, Allen will win and stop doing that against Mahomes. Yeah, I mean, it would be very funny. This was very, very, very similar to the Patriots versus Colts for a while there. However, the Patriots rule, the Colts rule change led to a Colts Super Bowl win. It did not lead to a Super Bowl win for the Bills. Like the Bills are a better football, like outside of like weirdly just the quarterback position, it feels like the Bills are a way better football team. And I think Josh Allen, pound for pound, is a better quarterback than Mahomes. Mahomes just wins all the time. He's a clutch guy. He wins. I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of like how Peyton, on like almost every conceivable notion, was probably a better quarterback than Tom Brady, except for like winning in the playoffs. It's just like the one thing that he was better at than everybody else. And weirdly, that's like the same thing with Mahomes. Like Allen probably throws the ball better than he does. He runs better than Mahomes. He's a better athlete than Mahomes. Like Mahomes can just throw the ball really good, and he can kind of run. Like Mahomes technically had a slower 40 time than Mac Jones, but he's not immobile. But it's like he's not fast. He's kind of like Matt Stafford with the speed, where it's like, wow, he's surprisingly fast. For Mahomes, it's like he's not as fast as I thought. Like, but he's always getting big gains because again, he's like a weirdly smart runner. He knows when and what situations to run in. And that's probably more valuable than just being able to run raw. Surprisingly, Jaden Daniels and Drake May were a lot more disciplined with their running than I thought they were going to be. They both run a lot more like Lamar Jackson. Drake May runs right through people because he's fucking 6'6". He doesn't really he doesn't give. But Jaden runs a lot like Lamar in avoiding hits, taking easy hits, and just going down at certain points. Making the hits fall to like a weak side, like very good at avoiding damage, whereas May is big enough to just take the hit and go down. For the most part, he needs to chill on the concussions, but But he also seems to know when to run, which is a big part of it. You know what's crazy is if Mahomes gets eliminated, it'll be like one of the second times ever a scrambler, like a true scrambler, has won the Super Bowl. If anybody but Mahomes left wins the Super Bowl, we have our second ever true scrambler. The first was Russ, by the way. Isn't that crazy? That Russell Wilson is considered the first technical scrambler to win a Super Bowl. Back when he was in year 2, he was a scrambler. He was a very, very mobile run out and throw on the run quarterback. And again, even Russell's not really like the most pure scrambling quarterback. Like this would be the first like guy you could be like, oh, Allen's a scrambler. Hurts is a scrambler, and Daniels is a scrambler. Like they're all running. Like they're running quarterbacks. And again, early Russell Wilson was a running quarterback, but he also he cooked in the pocket because he's 5'11". Like, you know, he had no other choice. Yeah, no, Drake May is very good. It's the fact that he was as good as he was with the receiving core that he had, and the fact that he had no offensive line. Every efficiency chart puts Drake May on the same level as Josh Allen and hold on, let me find one for you. Hold on, I'm trying to find something. Let's see. I'm trying to find something really fast. I guess I'm not going to find it that way. Let's see. EPA NFL QB chart. And 4 months ago. Damn it. Trying to find the chart. NFL QB EPA chart. Can't find it. I don't know what terms to type in to get what I'm looking for. Oh well. I'll find it eventually, and I'll let you guys know. Yeah, but May's he ranks rates very highly, charts it very nicely. Everything seems to be going in the right direction. How that pans out, I don't really know. I don't really know. Apparently, Aaron Glenn has landed back in Detroit via Woody Johnson's plane. No deal as of now, but sources say a substantial offer was made, and the Jets' job is his if he wants it. Let me see what the hell. So it sounds like Glenn to New York very much could happen in the next coming couple days. Yeah, I'm guessing someone's going to trade for Milton too. They're saying Mark Brunell could potentially become his offensive coordinator. Glenn wants to bring in a veteran DC who has as NFL coach, who's been a coach. Okay. Yeah, it would probably take a lot for them to trade him in the division. I don't know if they do that. Well, I don't know. Or for the Patriots to trade him in the division, I don't know if we do that. Especially since our two teams have pretty bad relationship, all things considered. Yeah, I just don't. Maybe no, I just don't see it. There'd have to be like a weird 3-team trade involved. You know what I mean? Where you guys send picks over to another team that sends us a player we send you guys Milton, but technically us sending you guys Milton, or sending the other team Milton, and then Milton being traded again for picks. But we get the players and everybody walks away with what they want, the team for the, like, you know. But imagine some kind of weird 3-team trade if that were to happen, where the Patriots are not involved, or they are involved in the 3-teamer, and we get like a player that we want. Because again, Milton's good enough that the Patriots can snag a really good player off a team. Like, we could trade his ass to Seattle and get DK Metcalf with some pick. Like, if we traded Milton and picks, we could get DK Metcalf. They'd be like, well, we don't really got much of a choice, do we? But the problem is but the problem is DK's. The only reason I say DK Metcalf is an option for a player like that. Seattle really could use a future quarterback. DK Metcalf, I don't think he wants to resign there long. I don't think he's planning on sticking around long term. I don't think he likes that team very much anymore. So I could see Seattle being a good trade destination, where Milton and some picks are packaged to get old DK Metcalf to New England, where he should have been drafted in the fucking first place. And then we don't have to make any more moves. We sign T. Higgins. We've been envisioning T. Higgins to our team for 3 years, Jeremy. Look how close we are. He's coming to New England, Jeremy. Do you not know that? We can't draft wide receivers, Jeremy. So all we have to do is, all our fan base does is visualize getting wide receivers in some devious fashion where we overpay them. We'll just overpay. What's $35 million when you have $136 million of it, and none of it needs to go to the quarterback position for 3 years, 4 years? What is that to us? It means nothing. Mere pocket change. We could also trade with the Steelers. I have a feeling you guys are going to end up trading Garrett Wilson. I think he's going to want to trade this offseason. I don't think he wants to stick around. By the way, if everyone hasn't dropped a like yet, consider doing so. It does help out our stream quite a bit. I think we have all of 7 right now. If you haven't dropped one yet, consider doing so. We'll see where Garrett Wilson winds up. But he definitely feels like he wants a big time trade out. Reddick, Adams, Rodgers, Lazard. Yeah, and it just like doesn't work because of the chemistry, kind of like I thought it wouldn't. Yeah, that's why like I've always considered it like a dumb idea to just go get good players and put them all on the same team. It's like you do know there has to be like good team chemistry, right? Like that's a thing. And it seems like the Jets forget this every time they do this shit. It's just like they just go get a bunch of players that just can't play good together. It's just like, oh damn, well, that was stupid. It'll be like 3 guys that all do the same thing and wonder why it's not working. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Like when they signed that corner Nnamdi Asomugha from the Raiders, and like like he did the one thing that they already had. Like they signed like a strict like man corner to like a zone blitz defense, and like they're like, why the fuck does he suck now? Oh, that was the Eagles. Never mind, that was the Eagles. Wrong team. That was the Eagles who signed Nnamdi. That was one of the worst like collapses I've ever seen. Asamoah was so fucking good at corner, and then he went from like the Raiders. Nobody could deal with him there, and then he goes to the Eagles, switches over to like zone defense, and they just rip him apart. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Quite honestly, Nnamdi was one of the greater. He was like Darrelle Revis level of good until they kind of fucked him. Which is actually similar to why Carlton Davis fell apart that one year in Tampa before he came to Detroit. Tampa switched to his zone defense, and he is a man corner. One of the best in the NFL. He was again this year, actually. Hope the Lions keep him around. He was a good player to have. Oh, the game versus the Eagles Super Bowl. Well, no, Belichick just is a strict coach. That game's suspicious to me. In the same way that the validity of something like Deflategate and Spygate are suspicious to me, I find that Eagles Patriots Super Bowl game very, very suspicious. I don't believe that the NFL rigged it. However, I do believe that former Eagles player Troy Vincent played a very nefarious role in that game's outcome. And again, I don't even think the Eagles were in on this. I think what happened in that game, if I'm correct, was there not one very, very, very questionably called touchdown for the Eagles? Like one that was so questionable, like it didn't actually fit the rules for the NFL season, that like it was so controversial it became the new rule. Like the following season, whatever that ruling was became the new catch rule, correct? We remember this, right? This very clearly happened. Like this is like there are articles about this happening. Like it was like they made a very controversial thing to claim it was caught, and the next season that was the new catch rule. Now, the reason that this is suspicious to me and something worth noting out is the Patriots would have won the game without that call made. It's like one of those things where it's like, if you look at it, you take away the points. I believe the Patriots win that Super Bowl, right? Now, you ask me why I think that's suspicious, why I'm like, it's on the same level as Spygate or Deflategate, where the league deliberately tries to take away from what the Patriots were doing, tries to throw water on the Patriots, tries to kind of stop the Patriots in some way. Basically just these asinine things that happened to us that we had to deal with from the league. Now, Troy Vincent, a former member of the Eagles, has been on record stating that the Patriots stole the Super Bowl versus the Eagles, deserved worse punishment for Spygate, didn't get punished enough for anything, and deserves worse than anything that they deserve, right? And that's someone who is the, what is his job? Oh yeah, he is in charge of the officials of the NFL. Troy Vincent is. He's like the head of like the head of the rules of the NFL. He makes the rules. Yeah, very bad guy to have against your football team, right? Now, if you go and look when he joined the league and you go look to the fucking Deflategate, it's very interesting how those things go aside. Go look who led Deflategate. Very interesting name will pop up. It'll be Troy Vincent. Then you'll find it very interesting how Troy Vincent led the witch hunt of Deflategate. Like virulently ran Deflategate. Like he needed this to happen. So you're like, get to the point, man. Well, then the very following year, the very following Super Bowl, the Patriots win versus the Falcons. And if we had won the very next Super Bowl, we would have won 3 straight. if we would have beat the Eagles in a game that was very oddly officiated. And now we get back to the main point that I've kind of danced around and built up to. Troy Vincent was in the ear of the referees that game. Did you know that? He was on headset with the referees to kind of I think he does this for every Super Bowl. He is on an official like channel with like the referees to make sure the game is called correctly. I believe they do that for the Super Bowl. There is belief that Troy Vincent decided to override the ruling that would have came from the refs if he wasn't on the headset that game, or wasn't like, trying to like change things, that he overruled it and called it a touchdown despite it not being. And he said, we'll deal with the rules later. Or they already had the new rule ready to go, but instead of ruling the way it was, they decided to rule in the new rule, making it a touchdown instead of an incomplete pass, which it should have been. You see why I'd find that a little suspicious, that a guy with a vendetta against the Patriots is in the ears of the referees and potentially change the refs call from a touchdown from an incomplete pass based on the way the rules were. Then the rules changed the following year to making that a touchdown. Isn't that weird? Wouldn't you be suspicious of some shit like that? And just nobody ever talks about that for some reason? Just nobody does. Nobody ever brings that up. Nobody ever brings up how like the head of the NFL rules committee has a sworn vendetta against the Patriots. And then Deflategate happens to him like a year after he's hired, basically. It's weird, isn't it? And Brady gets suspended 4 games for something that's a $10,000 fine. It's an equipment violation. Isn't that weird? For a player who's never once been in trouble, off the field, on the field. I don't even think Brady's ever gotten a speeding ticket. Weird, huh? But yeah, the NFL is rigging it in the game in the favor of a team it fucking hates. Now, if you look up why, now you type in this on CBS News. Did NFL's Troy Vincent just say that Corey Clement's touchdown shouldn't have counted? This is CBS News, by the way. Vincent was a guest on the Dan Patrick Show with the goal of trying to explain the new rules proposals from the competition committee, which will go before the owners next week. Specifically, the competition committee set out to clear up any and all confusion about what is and what is not a catch in the NFL, an issue that's proven particularly troublesome in recent years. Then it goes on. Interesting, Vincent used Clement's touchdown catch as a perfect illustration of how the new rule can be enforced. What? That slight ball movement of the ball, that old language read, if there's slight movement, that means you've got to overturn it. Now you can have movement, but you can still maintain control. We removed and got out of the business of slight movement because you can have movement, but still be in control. The Clement play in the Super Bowl was the best example. The ball moved, but he had complete control over the ball through the process of the catch. Do you catch that? The catch in the Super Bowl, a touchdown catch, was a great example of a new rule. What? And under the old rule, that slight movement shouldn't have counted. This is from Troy Vincent's own fucking mouth, by the way. This is the guy himself. So under the new rule proposal, Clement would not be penalized. That's all well and good, but wouldn't that by necessity mean that under the old rule, the ruling should have been an incompletion? Isn't Troy saying that under the old rules, a slight bobble meant that the catch had to be overturned on replay? Typically, that is the meaning of a sentence when a sentence reads like, the old language read, if there's slight movement, that means you've got to overturn it. His own literal words. Gene's territory was shown explaining the replay ruling. It sticks here and then it goes out there, but he never loses control. It's a little movement. Yes, but that does not deem loss of control. You know, it goes from here, sticks on the forearm right there. So you have Vincent saying the old language clearly dictated that slight movement must result in incompletion. And you have the referee who had been communicating with head of officiating, Al Riveron, saying that there was the slight movement, but he never lost control. It seems the people who create and enforce the rules have a hard time fully in understanding the rules. It'll probably not be cleared up. Now, again, I don't know. Was it enough to overturn? Probably not, because it was an 8-point win for the Eagles. So you take away, what, 4 points? However, you never know how a game's played differently. I forgot it was 8, not 7 points. My apologies. And I forgot they probably still would have got a field goal out of it. But I digress, right? No one really cares because it's the Patriots and everyone thinks we cheated, so it's okay if we get cheated. But what if I told you we really didn't even cheat? Is stealing signs really that big of a deal? Not really. Is Deflategate even that big of a deal? Do you really give a fuck about the deflation of footballs? By the way, a lot of the games the Patriots played in felt like the league was after us, believe it or not. I know it never seemed like it. And it seemed like we got a lot of calls. But there's a reality to that not just not being true. Do you know Tom Brady was one of the least called roughing the passer quarterbacks throughout his career? Something like a 0 on like percentage of times it was called for him was like 0.0108. One of the least called roughing the passer quarterbacks. It'd be like 3 a year he'd get called. There's a whole website called like QBpenalties.com or something, NFLpenalties.com, and you can like sort it by yeah, here we go. NFLpenalties.com. You can sort it by roughing the passer. Number 1 all time is Matthews I think it's this guy, right? Yeah, I believe it's Matt Ryan is number 1. Tom Brady had it called 35 times in his career. Like per game, that's 0.138, like 0.3 per 100 attempts. Like these are some of the lowest, by the way, Brady has. See, Peyton Manning is weird because he took so many weird years off and didn't play a lot. Yeah. I wish it went back a little further than 09. Yeah. Well, they just beat us. Yeah. That was the end of the dynasty. I don't think that game's fishy. They just won. Sometimes you lose. Yeah, I don't think most games were fishy. They're just whenever a game didn't feel right, it probably was right. No, we generally beat him, so I didn't really care about playing him. Our nightmare matchup was the Baltimore Ravens. That was about it. Most teams didn't play us very good except Baltimore and Miami. And like every 3 years, Miami would beat us. It's just like that's not too bad. Generally, other than that, we beat everybody pretty soundly. Just kind of why do you think everyone whoops the shit out of us still, dude? Everyone hates our fucking guts. They're like, man, we don't care if they're 2 wins. We're gonna beat the fuck out of the Patriots. Yeah, we're genuinely everybody's on everyone's hit list at the start of the year. We're gonna kill these guys. Yeah, it was just the Ravens, just generally the Ravens. Their defense was very, very good. Offense did enough to win. It was more about their defense not being afraid of Tom Brady and not turning into a pile of dog shit whenever a team played us, which was very funny to watch. Teams would just play stupid ass football against us, like the Chargers, the Steelers, the whole division. except for the Jets, like for under Rex Ryan. Yeah, Manning was fine. It wasn't, I don't know, he just wasn't very unmobile quarterback. I feel like he wouldn't be that difficult to deal with. Like other than like the pre-snap, that stuff, it feels like of all the people, like Peyton would have been a lot easier to deal with than a lot of other quarterbacks. Yeah, the Chiefs have similar thing. People play bad when they play Kansas City. Yeah. Not really bad. They just play out of their zone because they're like, oh, we're playing a good team. It's just like, I guess, yeah, you just play normal. And they don't. And that tends to cost them. In the Super Bowl? Yeah, it was pretty good. I'm not fully bullish on Aaron Glenn. Jets seem enamored though. Yeah, we'll see about Glenn. We have to remember that he's probably not going to be calling games anymore, right? Like his job is to build a team, lead a culture change, and get the right like players on the Jets, right? And like reshape the Jets, get them going in the right direction, hire the right coordinators that'll play the way he wants the game to be played. I don't know. I feel like he's going to be good at that part of being a coach. Between him and Ben Johnson, I see Aaron being a better coach. Because again, Ben had everything given to him on that offense and never had one thing go bad for him, except Montgomery got hurt. Like that was like the biggest like, you know what I mean? Like the Lions are just loaded with talent, and whereas like I don't know, Glenn did pretty good with a bunch of practice squad guys this year. I don't know. Aaron Glenn's the same way. He's just a lot friendlier to the media than Brian Flores is. If there was saving grace for Glenn, he likely won't have to deal with Rodgers' demands, such as Hackett as OC and certain backup quarterback. Yeah, most likely. And I just see Glenn as a very like strong-willed individual that'll be able to do kind of, I don't know. Again, head coaching is a lot more about like game management capability. And you should be delegating your coordinating duties. And that's why I'm not sure about Ben Johnson. Yeah, the lawsuit was bad. He'll get another shot head coaching at some point, just maybe not right away. He needs like another couple years being a good coordinator, and he'll get hired. Eventually, someone will pull the trigger. There wasn't a lot of openings this year, surprisingly, and a lot of teams want to go offense. Teams are starting to shy away from hiring defensive coordinators. Offense did operate well due to the terrific O-line in Detroit. Bears are going to yeah, and that's my big question is Ben Johnson able to team build? Is Aaron Glenn able to team build? Because my big thing there is if they can't team build, then they're fucked. It's just like no matter how well Ben calls it. That's usually the thing that kills these offensive coordinators. They just can't team build because they were just given the players to fucking cook with. I agree, Max. They'll probably go after Trey Smith, but the problem is can they afford Trey Smith over a team like the Patriots? This year, the Patriots, yeah, everybody played us good. It's not that hard. We sucked. Pretty sure everybody played the Patriots good, except the Bengals. It's just like that's about it. Everyone else beat the fuck out of us effectively. Not really, actually. We played a lot of we had like 6 one-score games we lost. It's pretty good. Turn them around, that's 10. Yeah, we have $136 million max. We can just pay Trey Smith more than everybody else. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Probably. I don't remember. That was like 11 years ago. 12 years, 10 years ago. 2025 just hasn't happened enough yet to be 20 for it to be 11. Yeah, Jehu, it's pretty good. It's nice for us to have a real coach again this year. We got McDaniels back, actually a good offensive coordinator. And people are trying to act like it's bad. It's like he was literally our OC when we went undefeated. He's won Super Bowls with us. What the fuck are we doing here? Literally had Mac Jones rated as the 80. Remember when Mac Jones was number 85 on the NFL Top 100? Remember that shit? That's how good we had Mac Jones as a rookie looking. And then he lost McDaniels. And man, he sucked without Josh. Now he's got Drake May to work with. I can't even imagine what we're about to see. That Earnhardt Perkins system's about to go fucking crazy. I'm just kidding. I think Josh is going West Coast now. Yeah. Because of fucking Josh McDaniels. He's a very good coordinator. The reason Tom always big ups Josh McDaniels. He's not like lying. Tom Brady went from a pedestrian quarterback to the first guy to throw 50 touchdowns under Josh. I know we got Randy Moss, but like the offense was ramping up to that point. Nothing's coincidental. I believe he was also the offensive coordinator when we won our big Super Bowl. When we beat the Seahawks. I believe he coordinated against the Legion of Boom defense. Pretty impressive. He's just not a good head coach. He's a very bad head coach. Because again, there's two simultaneous. By the way, if you haven't dropped a like yet, consider doing so. We might hit tens of likes. I know we had 7, so. But there's 2 Josh McDaniels that exists in the world. There's the head coach Josh McDaniels, a dictator dickhead, and then the offensive coordinator McDaniels, lovable, fucking team-friendly guy. Should be a pipe dream for most organizations. Crazy he didn't have a job last offseason. Josh is terrible with game management and roster construction. Yup, that's what happens to good offensive coordinators usually. Is they just aren't fucking, for some reason they don't get clock management and they can't build a roster because they think they're very smart. He was on our, Josh was critical for our success as a franchise. He wasn't on for the Rams Super Bowl, actually, I don't think. No, he wasn't he? He was there. And then he went over. No, was he on the team for the Rams? I thought he was over in oh yeah, because he fucked Indy, didn't he? That's right. That was the year he fucked the Colts, wasn't it? He did that hilarious shit and just kind of like deep dicked the India. Then stuck around until like after Mac's first year and then left. Yeah, he wasn't he? Yeah, and he's also kind of a dickhead, Max. Whenever he's in charge, he becomes a raging prick for some reason, and we haven't quite figured out why Josh McDaniels is such a jerk. We're all hoping that Allen finally gets this job done, just so we can watch Chiefs fans try to shrug it off and like pretend like they're not like crushed. We're like, haha, you guys are nope, didn't happen. And talk about how they had to overcome a bunch of adversity this year with their 15-2 football team. I don't think so. I think he's committed to the Tar Heels. I think he's done with the NFL. I don't think he likes it anymore. I don't think he wants to deal with that shit anymore. I think he'd rather just deal with college ball. Plus, he's like older. I don't know. It's probably a lot easier just to coach college for him. Where there's probably more like passion and love of the game left. As compared to the pros where it's mostly just people doing a job. Like for someone like Bill, who's already a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, all that's left in the NFL is to chase the wins record. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's got a hot girlfriend now in college, like at the college. He can just chill. Yeah, and plus like he could do something he's never done. He really loves football, and like you can have a passion for the game and still coaching like and be a part of college football where there's still like passion in the game. Yeah, Charlotte, I would imagine you guys don't want to play the Chiefs. You'd probably rather play a team like the Eagles, who have a notorious. Hey, Charlotte, how's it going though? Have like a notorious history of choking to the in the Super Bowl. I'm going to do like another 20 minutes to do like a 2-hour stream, and then I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate people coming by. That's kind of what's extended the stream a little bit here tonight. Plus, I have a snow day tomorrow again because it's going to be freezing cold and it's just terrible road conditions. Yeah, and part of I have another thing I want to talk about in a second about that, Jeremy. Yeah, I was gonna say you're an Eagles fan. You're probably super excited. Most likely, you guys will beat the Commanders, but I don't know. You got to be careful with them. They force more turnovers than any team I've ever seen in my life in the last like 2-3 weeks. They've just been taking the shit away from the ball. You got to watch out for that. They force a ton of turnovers. I thought it was just Tampa Bay being reckless with the football. No, they're just taking the shit away from teams. Impressive run. Yeah, I mean he's going to redevelop the team, sure, but the problem with with Ben Johnson is, do we know if he can construct a roster and manage a football game? We know he can call one. He can call an offense, but can he do all the other things expected of a head coach? Yeah, it was the Kelsey matchup, the Kelsey Bowl. We remember. We were all annoyed. But yeah, with Ben Johnson, it's clear he had already kind of decided he was going to take the Bears job before that game he coached. And I'm wondering if the NFL, they've already made one rule about it. I wonder if they should just make a rule that the coaching cycle of hiring a new head coach doesn't begin until after the Super Bowl, or until you can't interview with a coach until after they're done coaching in the playoffs. Like they gotta make a rule where it's just coaches that are still coaching for a team can't go interview for a new job. I think that genuinely did not help with the Lions game versus the Bears, or versus the Commanders. I think their coaches were distracted. Like both the Commanders coaches refused to do interviews till after the season ended. Yeah, I hate rematch Super Bowls. I'm not a big fan of them. They're boring in nature. Like, I wouldn't care if the Chiefs played the Commanders. I genuinely would be like, oh, cool, that's interesting. Or if the Bear, like, again, it's literally because it's fucking, or if the Eagles played the Bills. I don't care of like seeing teams get back to the Super Bowl. And again, I don't even care if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. I'm not that invested. And I also don't, I like seeing history, right? I like seeing teams rise above, become new great teams, become historic teams. I like the fact that I get to see this. Again, I appreciate history. I don't want to see the Patriots be the best team of all time. I'd rather see a team like Kansas City take it over. Again, because that means for me, that means the game isn't finished yet, right? Like, part of the reason I don't like hockey, if I'm being very honest, is because it feels like hockey is finished. That's fine. That's fine. Neither team in my lifetime has ever played in the Super Bowl against one another. Neither team in my lifetime that I know about has ever played in a Super Bowl that I was aware of and conscious and like watching. So again, I don't, that's fine. I would like to see some stuff like that. But like, hockey feels done because they've had the greatest hockey player of all time already come through. That's Wayne Gretzky. Like, they've literally had their single greatest player ever already play the game. Like, if you take away all his goals, which his goal record actually might get passed up pretty soon, by Ovechkin this year, I guess. But if you take away all his goals, he's still the all-time leading point scorer. Isn't that fucking crazy? Like, you could take away all like 900 of his goals, and he's still number one all time in points scored by like 50. Yeah, and like that to me means like no one will ever surpass that record ever in hockey. Like he hasn't, like, that's it. That's the greatest single hockey player, like offensive, like he's the GOAT. Like that is their sport. Like it's over. What's the point of playing or watching that sport knowing that you can't beat him? Like, your favorite player will never be as good as him. But like, we're still watching football. Like, Brady just happened and we're watching a guy challenge that. It's like, what? And I think that's awesome. Oh, the NFL, I hope not. I hate to see this idea of a series. Football, you can't do that. But again, I like seeing like records be eventually toppled. I think it's good for the sport if records get broken. Yeah, I don't mind. Like if the three-peat happens, cool. I don't want it to happen because I'd rather see my team eventually get to that. But if it does happen, I'll be pretty stoked. I'm not, again, I don't hate on greatness like a lot of people do. Like, I just don't want to see a goddamn Eagles Chiefs rematch. We just saw that shit. Literally anybody but that, any game but that. Jesus Christ. Because I don't even know if I want to watch that game again. It's like, we just saw this game with the same fucking players, basically. Holy shit, dude. Same coaches. You know how much that sucks? When my Patriots played, we never seen this. Well, we seen the same matchups later, but they were like a decade later. Yeah, I love greatness. It's great. It's fun to watch. A lot of people don't like greatness, to believe it or not. They say they do. But the reality is a lot of people don't like greatness. That's why people hate on people like LeBron James, Tom Brady, the Chiefs. And they do it not because they like, oh, we had 10 likes. Hell yeah. And it's never for like, the reason I dislike Kansas City is because I dislike their fan base. They're obnoxious. They're whiny. They're annoying people to deal with. So it translates. But the football team, I love watching the Chiefs play football. They're very good at it. Andy Reid's a great coach. Yeah, Gretzky's unstoppable, like a monster, like a literal monster. Like 2 points in every game somehow. A goal and an assist, basically. He's just like, all right, I'll just throw out like 3 assists this game. He's literally the single greatest player that sport has ever seen or will ever see again. And the sport's finished. That's why I think it's finished. Like you'll have entertaining players that'll be like Ovechkin, but like he could just like sacrifice his goals to get rid of Ovechkin, and he's still the GOAT. It's still nobody's come near the guy. McDavid, I don't think he'll ever get near him. Who will be the Lions off? Probably their offensive line coach or their passing game coordinator, Tanner Inglestrand, or Scotty Montgomery, the running back coach. One of those 3 guys, most likely. Wouldn't be surprised if they promote the offensive coordinator and then keep the pass game coordinator and the run game coordinator, Scotty Montgomery. Yeah, LeBron the GOAT. Except he might be involved with some of that Diddy shit, so, you know, he's a tentative GOAT. We might be a Jordan guy now, but personally, I think what LeBron did is more impressive than what Jordan did, but we don't have to get into that. Because again, if you ask LeBron, him falling short of the 6 is probably enough to keep him at number 2 all time. Actually, if you ask LeBron, he's the greatest of all time. But it does appear that LeBron's not going to hit 6. So looks like Jordan will keep his GOAT status. Of greatness, I think it inspires others to do better and reach higher levels. Yeah, it's physically inspired. Yeah, I think it's people should strive for it, right? It gives you something to be like, wow, that's possible. And it makes you think that, at least for me, it always makes me go like, I can do that. I watched a guy do some crazy shit. Yeah, I would love to see LeBron get another title. Like LeBron's so great. He made $1 billion playing basketball. He's the first labor billionaire. Isn't that fucking wild? I think he's worth like around $1 billion. And it's basically because he played basketball. He's considered the first labor billionaire. I think he's considered the first labor billionaire. Hold on, let me double check. Jordan was the first. Well, fucking Jordan made all his money on shoes. Yeah, I don't want to talk about them weirdos. But yeah, not a great sign. Not a great sign. off to a great start. Only thing I'm going to say is they did the one thing I cared about, which was freeing Ross Albright. So now I'm basically just like, well, all right, I got everything I want out of these fucking losers. I want them out of the presidency now. We got Ross freed. And now I'm done. I'm checked the fuck out on this shit. Fucking get him out of there. We got Ross freed. Cool. I'm good. I don't care about the rest of this. I got what I needed out of the Trump presidency. Which is good. Very happy guy. That's all I wanted. Now I'm back to pretty much completely checked out on politics until something big gets me to care again. Personally, I'm just going to check out. I just don't care. It's fucking... hopefully in 4 years, it just goes back to nerds caring about it. I think that's where we're heading, but we'll see. All right, everybody. I think this is a pretty fun stream. I think it was a good one tonight. We stood strong, and despite having kind of waning and waxing numbers all stream, I think we delivered a good one. All right, though, everyone. I appreciate y'all. Hopefully, y'all have a good rest of your night. Hopefully, you enjoyed the stream. Anybody, if you have anything left to say, let me know. We can maybe quick chat it here. But yeah, that's about that. Hell yeah, Cheryl. I can't wait for baseball. Let's go look at the Tigers real quick. Hold on. Speaking of baseball, what do we got for our diamond friends? What do we got? Go get the fuck out. Okay, it's cookies. Also, what the fuck? Pitchers and catchers. Ooh, tomorrow is 1 month and games begin. Look at that. I'll be covering this game on the 22nd. I won't be able to cover. Actually, I should be able to cover this game. Should be able to cover this game. Yeah, as long as I don't have to go do anything like individual, I should be able to cover almost all of these games. Ooh, that's going to be fun. Yeah, we're right there for baseball. Next week. Or in like a month. In a day. 1 month, basically. All right, everyone. Have a great night. I appreciate y'all. We'll be live again. Not tomorrow. I don't stream the day after. I have stuff to do. Bought tickets for their Phillies Tigers in August at the bank in Philly. Oh, shit. You're lucky. Hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully you guys get swept. But, you know, it is what it is. If you're just tuning in, maybe check out the beginning of the stream. I think it was a pretty good one. We had some pretty good talks. Had some pretty good rants tonight. I'm also working on a video, like a big one, like a first like ever video that isn't. It's like the idea of it is, I kind of displayed some of my ideas tonight. Is that the idea is the Patriots weren't the bad guys that everyone portrays them to be, but more that they were actually sort of these they're a victimized team and should be considered more of a heroic character for the way they triumphed over the NFL's attempts to destroy them over the years. And we really should hate Peyton Manning, but the video will get to itself. It'll be very entertaining. You think we keep Rodgers? I don't think you should. No, I think he either retires or leaves. I don't think he's going to be on your team next year. I don't think you have to worry about his fucking dumbass. I think he retires, personally. I think he's done. I think he's cooked. That video would come in after the season, though, when I have free time and I'm not doing anything. I also want to be a little bit more diligent about videos on the channel. Keep myself in the algorithm this year. At least one a week. I want to try to do one video a week, even if it's small. I should probably do more than that. Yeah, it'll be fun. Streaming is always fun after a day. Besides, I'm just usually, I need to keep a somewhat of a schedule going. So I'm trying to enforce that going forward. Like, I don't stream Monday nights. I stream Tuesday. I stream Thursday. I stream sometimes Friday, sometimes Saturday. One of the days usually. Sometime, maybe if I got time, I'll do both. And then Sunday, and I stream 100%. I just got to have some kind of schedule. All right, though. Peace out, everyone. Have a great night. I'll see you Thursday if you stop by. If not, I'll see you probably for the Sunday games at least. If not, I don't know when I'll see you next. Peace out. Go Lions. Go Tigers. And of course, it's always go Patriots. Best team in the league again. Have a great day, everybody. Peace out and stay warm out there. It's -6 degrees where I'm at. Terrible. Terribly, terribly cold. All right. Peace out. Stay warm. Stay